Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another edition of VGU Talks, and let's talk games! Specifically today, we're going to be talking about which game is better between Wasteland and Fallout. Yes, I know, I've done Destiny and Warframe, but we're moving on to another one because I've been playing both Wasteland 2 and Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas back to back, obviously getting hyped for Fallout 4, and I came to realise which one is actually better, at least in my opinion. Let's have a look and find out. So first off, for those who may not know, Fallout wasn't always an FPS RPG series. It started itself out as an isometric RPG using a Diablo-style camera to immerse you into the towns, cities, and hotspots of the game. Plus, it was this style that gave birth to a lot of the Fallout tropes that we now know and love today, including the super mutants, the Enclave, power armor, you name it. But with this game back in the day taking the populace of gamers on PC by storm, some say that it would not have become as nearly as successful as it has if it wasn't for another game that took place in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. With that, we have the also isometric view RPG that did technically start it all, Wasteland. This game was originally released on the Commodore 64, and this adventure had you take control of your own team of desert rangers as you explore the wastes and help out those that need your assistance. Since this was a title that was released way before that of the original Fallout, gameplay was restricted to the bare basics. So you still had the random element as you never knew who or what you were going to come across, but instead of having a fancy UI or in-depth controls, you had a simple Final Fantasy style turn-based system coupled with in-depth information about damage and where you have hit your opponents in a text box next to their picture. And looking back at these titles now, it is a simple matter as to whether you prefer the originator or the successor. However, today we have a new struggle on our hands. If I was going to sit here and compare the original Wasteland to the original Fallout, Fallout 2, and even Fallout Tactics, I would probably have a very tough call on my hands. Although Fallout 1 and 2 were spiritual successors to Wasteland, they felt completely different due to one core mechanic being removed. Not controlling an entire squad, but only controlling one individual. However, it wasn't until Fallout Tactics when the series really started to take a lot more ideas from Wasteland. Mostly, instead of that being that you control a squad of the Desert Rangers, now you control a squad that are recruits of the Brotherhood of Steel. And if I had to go with a decision from back then, it would just have to be Fallout hands down. Cause although Wasteland originated the idea, Fallout took the idea and perfected it for that generation. However, for this generation, we now have Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, all the DLCs they have on offer, plus the up-and-coming Fallout 4, which changed the series from the isometric RPG to now an RPG FPS franchise. And initially I was very concerned about this change. I was concerned about how a lot of things were going to switch over to an FPS style environment. Lucky for me, the change was actually very good and much better than what I was thinking it was going to be. The VAT system, for example, was completely overhauled, so that whilst you're in the middle of a gunfight, you hit one button and all of a sudden now you can highlight different areas of your opponents and see if you can't shoot their gun out of their hands, smash them across the head, or cripple their arms and legs in hopes of making that encounter much easier for you. As well as this critical change to one of the fundamental mechanics of the Fallout series, you are actually able to admire the world a heck of a lot more from a first person's perspective. You are able to admire all the different landscapes, the wrecked important figures from around the US of A. That perspective truly made the game better, at least for a brand new generation of gamers coming into the series for the first time. But with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, they actually inspired the return of Wasteland in the form of Wasteland 2. After a very successful Kickstarter campaign, it went onto Steam and boy has it impressed a lot of people. It has also proven that the isometric style RPG is not dead. In fact, it is way more of a viable option now than it ever has been in the past. Again, you take control of a squad of new recruits for the Desert Rangers, as you're running around the desert trying to save the day and help those who are in danger, as well as keep in check all that villainous scum that's walking around. With the updated graphics, full customization including being able to create your individual squad mates, so much in fact that you're able to write up their own background stories, you're able to literally RP in a wasteland, with your own characters created by your own mind. That in itself is an amazing experience which you just must not pass up if you are a fan of anything post-apocalyptic. Couple this with reinforced gameplay mechanics which are very much like Fallout Tactics, however new, vibrant, updated, and just as hardcore as ever before, and you have a game that not just stands up to the Fallout franchise, but also says to Fallout, okay, so you're going FPS, but we're staying as we were, and still doing just as good. But after giving you guys a basic as to Fallout and Wasteland and where they stand now, what is my choice out of the two? Which one do I genuinely think is better in our current standing? Well, I have fallen in love with Wasteland again after playing Wasteland 2, especially the Director's Cut Edition. The game is vibrant, and it's just so nice to have that style of gameplay back, but it brings so much nostalgia back into me. And it's also made me go back to play the original Wasteland, as well as the original Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics. But as much as I love Wasteland, and as much as I think it deserves to stay in this current age of gaming, I still think Fallout is better, and allow me to explain why. Yes, Fallout has taken a lot of inspiration from the original Wasteland, but instead of sticking to those original ideas and just constantly working on that ideal to make themselves better, they have however taken the inspirations and they have molded those inspirations into their own designs, their own creations, their own inspirations for their upcoming titles. Fallout 4 proves this, as it is yet another evolution of the franchise, it taking another step further for another generation. And whilst they're taking these steps forward, Wasteland 2 is taking similar steps, but is fundamentally staying in the grounds that it has made years ago, making it very iconic to those who played the original, but maybe not as iconic to those that'll be brand new to the franchise. Overall, my decision is here. Fallout, at least in my opinion, is the better game out of the two, but that does not mean that Wasteland 2 is bad. I highly recommend, if you haven't got either any of the Fallout games or any of the Wasteland games, to get yourself Fallout 3 or New Vegas and Wasteland 2. You will not be disappointed, and you will enjoy everything the Wasteland has to offer from both sides of this epic struggle. But now I leave the fight up to you guys. Which of these two iconic games do you think is the best? Is it the original, being Wasteland, or is it the successor, being Fallout? Let me know who you think is better in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys next time for another edition of VGU Talks.